Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching my YouTube channel. This is Lee, and today I'm going to be reviewing a game called Breaking Point. It's a mod, a zombie apocalypse mod for Arma 3. As you can see, I am actually just a fresh spawn here. I was recently just killed while running around, and I spawned here with an axe. That's my only weapon. Yay, axe. Currently, I am a level 2 hero, which that means I have been running around for some time doing nice things, not necessarily killing other players, maybe killing bandits, things like that, but mostly killing a lot of zombies to gain the reputation I need to become a level 2 hero here. And that just sounds sick. Here's another one. So this is my first review I've ever done on the game, and I'm choosing to do a review on an alpha version of a mod for Arma 3 because I spend most of my time playing this game. I have put in well over 400 hours into this mod alone, just running around with my friends, hanging out, having fun, killing zombies, shooting other players, and it's a lot of fun. So what I thought I'd do is do a little bit of a review, just to kind of point out the good things about the mod, good things about Arma 3, and maybe some downsides here and there as well, depending on what we come across. Thought I heard a gunshot nearby. I think I was mistaken on that. Now that being said, I don't want to go into a lot of I don't want to be a reviewer that, you know, kind of gives a score at the end of the review. That's not me. I think if you watch this review, you like what you see, you'll go out, you'll get the game, and you'll join me in playing some Breaking Point and having fun. If you don't like the game, if you don't like what you see, well, so be it. You don't need me to tell you what kind of score is needed to get a video game or not. Let's get this zombie. Kill, kill, kill. Wow. Splorch. It's actually getting a little dark right now. The server's actually on a timer. About 3 hours. Well, actually it's been changed. It's now going on a 4-hour timer. There's a reset of the server about every 2 hours. Currently we're going into a night phase. We're going to be about another hour or so before another reset. But at this point I kind of wanted to show off how the game looks at night, mostly because of the lighting, the way the light works in this game. I mean, look at the light shining off that water right now. It looks great. I mean, it's another zombie. No, that's too far off. Or not? Nope, there it is. Now as we get further up here, we'll see a little bit more of the lighting effects and how they work. A little overcast right now. Might get a little bit of rain. Might see some lightning. That'll be fun. Kind of see a couple of stars up there in the sky as well. The game itself looks fantastic. That's more, you know, attributed to Arma 3 itself. Arma 3 is a great game all by itself. Looks beautiful. Plays great. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Battlefield 4. It is much more difficult. It's more of a simulation, less a run-and-gun shooter. And for me, that's the kind of games that I like. I like simulation games. I like something that feels more real, that gives you a sense of just that you're there. And this gives that. This really delivers that. Now, for the zombie mod part of it, I love zombies. So, you know, this was natural for me, finding Breaking Point and playing this. The developers of Breaking Point have so far been doing a fantastic job with this mod. It's still in an alpha, so it's still very early, but they are adding new things near daily. I mean, there's probably an update at least 3 times a week with new content and just fixes and improvements to the mod overall. But that being said, it is, you know, obviously inspired by DayZ. Now, DayZ was on Arma 2. It was a mod for Arma 2. And DayZ, you know, it took its own course. When Arma 3 came out, they chose not to go with the Arma 3 engine, stuck with the Arma 2 engine, and kind of incorporated bits and pieces of Arma 3 into their own standalone engine that they're using for the new DayZ standalone. That being said, it doesn't look quite as good as this, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, DayZ standalone looks beautiful, but this, in my opinion, does look better. And as I was pointing out earlier, you can kind of see off in the distance there how the lighting effects work. That's one of the nearby towns. I've actually spawned pretty far south. Normally, in this map, this is a pretty large map. It's probably a good 25 kilometers from where I'm at to the other end of the island. So there's quite a bit of distance that can be traveled in this map by itself. But you can kind of see out there in the distance, you can see a small town. You can see there's a lamp poster or something over there next to that building. Windmills, yay. Up here we have a bit of a military complex, very small one, but sometimes there is a helicopter that actually spawns up here, so we're going to go check that out real fast. Doesn't look like there's one there. No, definitely not one there, but I'm not sure if that's always been there. Is that a car? I'll be damned if this is a car. So this is something that I can actually repair. It looks like it's missing a lot of stuff. It's probably pretty beat up. A couple of tires missing, a few tires missing. Let's hop in real fast. Looks like we need a few parts for sure. But this is doable. We can definitely make this happen. So I'm going to leave that there for now. We're going to quickly just run over here and force save that. Alright. Well, we'll just keep that in mind. We're going to have to go find some parts in that nearby town. Hopefully we can get enough stuff together to fix that car and get it out of here. As you can see, look at that light. I mean, it's beautiful. It's casting a proper light around the area. The light dims as you get further and closer away. It's beautiful. One thing the light doesn't do is cast shadows. That's, kind of unfortunate. I was hoping that they would, with Arma 3, would actually get that part down where lights from sources like that would cast proper shadows from players and from objects and from everything else. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen for one reason or another. Maybe in Arma 4. Getting a little ahead of myself there, though, I think. So just looking around, seeing if we can maybe find a weapon besides an axe that we can run with, but don't seem to be having any luck. For those of you that have never played Arma before, Arma is an entirely different game from those of Call of Duty and Battlefield 4. Unfortunately, Arma's had a bad rap for being pretty complicated, and that's not too far from the truth. Arma does have its complexities, but when it comes right down to it, it's still a first-person shooter. In this case, I'm in third person. There, now I'm in first person. And back to third person. But it does act exactly like a first-person shooter. It is a little bit clunkier, it is a little bit slower, but that's because it's meant to be a simulator, not a run-and-gun shooter like Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty. The controls are still relatively the same. I've got Q and E for leaning left and right, I've got W for forward, S for going left, D for going right, S goes backwards, and so on. Now Arma, you can't normally jump. They just don't code that in there. You're not really meant to jump around. But in Breaking Point, the devs did manage to put in an animation to jump. And it's useful in its situations. I mean, you can use it to jump over small fences, things like that. Small obstacles that might be in your way, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's not really used for much else more. It's starting to get really dark, so I'm going to try and travel down to this city here and get in some light and just kind of run around in the houses there, see if I can find the parts I need to fix that car. I've kind of got a mental list of what I'm going to need there. Looked like the hull was destroyed, so I'm probably going to need a body panel of some kind for that. I'm probably going to need some tape. I know that the fuel was completely red, which means I'm going to need a fuel repair kit. I'm going to need at least 3 tires and probably a tire repair kit as well to go along with that. Once I have all that, can of fuel, I'm probably good to go. Now, Arma in itself can be a fairly slow game, depending on what you're doing. This mod, you do spend quite a bit of time by yourself, depending on if you have friends or not that are traveling around with you. Unfortunately, right now, my buddies are all offline, but I don't mind running around by myself. It's a lot of fun. It does take time to get from point A to point B on foot, but that's kind of the novelty of it. As you're running around, you start collecting gear, you start gearing yourself up, you get a gun, you get a backpack, you get food, you get water. You can starve, you can dehydrate in this, so you got to keep yourself fed in order to survive. You can get sick, so there's antivirals and things like that out there to help you in those cases as well. If you start bleeding, you got bandages. I mean, it's a pretty robust system. Keeps you on your toes, keeps you moving, keeps you playing. There's a lot of extra things that you can do with this as well. There's factions. Right now, I'm a hero. There's also a bandit faction. Currently, all of this stuff being as it's an alpha, it's all subject to change. Everything gets changed on almost, a monthly basis. Testing new things, trying new things out is what they're doing. Right now, there's discussions of changing the humanity system, so it just flows better overall for everybody playing the game. They don't have to work so hard to go from bandit to hero or vice versa. In this case, being a hero, you get certain perks for that. I get armor, I get backpacks that have an armor value to them, so they protect me. I get vests that have an armor value to them, so they protect me. I get a tranquilizer pistol with tranquilizer rounds in it, so if I run up on a player, and I don't maybe necessarily want to kill them and harm my humanity because they could be a survivor, I can trank them first. Walk up, check them out, see what they are, make my decision as I'm waiting for the trank to wear off. It takes about 45 seconds. 45 seconds of time to get in there, kind of just do what you need to, and either kill the player or don't. So there's quite a bit to it. There's even a process where you can grab a roll of duct tape and you can bind that person. You can tie them up. Give you a little bit more time to get away if you choose, okay, this guy maybe not so trustworthy, I don't want to kill him though, so I'm just going to bind him and take off. And by the time you're gone, and by the time he's unbound, you're long gone. Here we go again, looking at that lighting. Zombie walking right underneath it. Well, at least I didn't get hit that time. Another nice thing about these lights, if they're in your way, if you actually prefer the dark and you want to stay hidden using that darkness, you can shoot that light out. I don't think my trank rounds will work on that, so maybe we can test that here in a little bit. I'm terrible. I am terrible with this axe. You kind of hear the thunk of a bullet coming out of the axe. And that's actually another thing. This game, Arma, was not really designed with melee weapons in mind. These are not natural to the game. So the developers, what they did is they made an action. They made a swing action, as you can kind of see. And look at that. You can kind of see the hits on the wall right there of what my axe is doing. And what's happening here is they make this axe fire off 4 bullets. And you don't hear the bullets coming out, but you see their effect right there on the wall. And as you're swinging through that arc, it's launching 1 bullet every so often. So you'll see, there we go. Now you can actually see that there's quite a few of them popping out there. So it's really kind of weird the way they set it up, but it wasn't meant for this game. It's a mod, but it's done well. And it works, and that's what matters. So again, we're kind of in here searching for survival gear, anything to keep us going, as well as those parts for that car. Certain buildings will kind of spawn certain things, so I'm kind of checking everything at the moment. It's getting really hard to see. Now what a lot of people will do, because it gets so hard to see at night, a lot of people will just crank the gamma up in the game. It basically turns this into a black and white game. You can see, at least. Well, I don't really like doing that. Kind of takes the fun out of it for me. It does put me at a disadvantage. Most players, as I stated, will turn their gamma up. That gives them a distinct advantage over you because they can see you, you can't see them. But that's okay. It is an alpha mod. I'm here to help test. I'm here to do what I can to help these developers make this a good game. Okay, I think I just turned myself around. Now, that being said, this being an alpha, it's not exactly fleshed out. There's a lot of bugs, and that's understandable. Again, it is an alpha. But with that, I mean, it's a pretty fun game. Compared to any other alpha I've ever played, this is working very well. And I've said, as I said earlier, I've spent probably a good 400 hours playing this mod alone for this game. And there's a lot to this game, there's a lot to this mod. I'm not going to be able to cover all of it in one sitting here. I plan to keep this, you know, around 30 minutes or so, give or take, but, I hope to come back later and maybe do a review, a further review during the daytime, show off some of the daytime stuff in this game. That is just a sickening sound that comes with this axe. It's beautiful. And again, playing this at night, I just kind of wanted to point out how the lighting works in this game. It is beautiful. It's definitely one of the things that makes this game as good as it is. Maybe I'll even run into a player here sometime. Alright. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pause this. I'm going to run around, find what I need, get that car going, and we'll come back. And we're back. As you can see, it's now daytime. Still running around in the same town, looking for parts for that car. While I was off, I did happen to run into another player. It was a hero. Didn't obviously kill me, which was a good thing. But he didn't really stick around and talk either. Just kind of made a lot of noise in town, shot up a bunch of stuff, and then left. As you can see, obviously, the game is quite a bit different during the day. Everything's nice and bright, good color, looks beautiful. Still running around with my axe. But perhaps we'll find a gun here pretty soon. So what I was talking about before the break, as I'm a hero, I do have certain perks that I get as being a hero. Armor on my vests and backpacks, and I get the tranquilizer pistol as a perk as well. On the flip side of that, here we got some soda. And these are parabellum rounds. They can be fired out of my tranquilizer pistol, as well as out of the Smith & Wesson right here. I'm not going to take the Smith & Wesson. My tranquilizer pistol will serve just fine. But as I was saying, bandits, on the other hand, they get different perks. They don't get a tranquilizer pistol. But what they will get is they will get backpacks and vest pouches that actually hold more than anything that a hero can get. As far as I can tell anyway, I haven't actually seen anything a hero can hold that holds more than a bandit's backpack or their bandolier. And later on, the bandits will actually start out with a bandit bandolier as well. Now, this is an alpha game, so it is being worked on and developed as we speak. Those things, and speak of the devil, there's a bandit bandolier. But those things change as time goes on. They will, adjust the perks and give people different things to just kind of improve the game overall. Still looking for those vehicle parts. We did manage to find a couple of tires, a few tires at this point. Already got them installed. Also found the fuel parts that we needed and got those installed, but we're still missing a few things that we need. And we got some binoculars. Those will be useful later. Now, one thing I didn't want to do with my reviews is script them. I didn't want to have to sit down, write everything out, and kind of make it a show. Not to say that I'm lazy about it, but, on one hand, I really don't have that kind of time. But I did want to sit down, just kind of go over the things that I like about the games that I play on kind of a low-level basis, and just kind of show off what the game's all about. And hopefully the people that watch this video will enjoy it, and maybe decide to pick up the game themselves and play. everything that I'm doing is unscripted. I'm just kind of going through as I play, talking about whatever comes to mind, whatever I can think of. Well, one thing you guys might have noticed by now is as I'm running through here, you're not finding stuff on the ground like you're used to seeing in DayZ. Everything's in containers. There is a reason for that. It actually... zombie murder. Oh, man. It used to be that everything would just fall on the ground. You'd find ammo, weapons, all the items would just spawn right there on the ground. But it was an issue of lag. The servers would literally have an issue with having that many items spawning on the server all at the same time. So they, just kind of changed it. They put in containers, and different containers, obviously, there's trash cans, there's boxes, there's different types of boxes. There's even containers that I haven't seen yet during this review show up with different types of items in them. And these items, they vary. Each item has a use of its own. Some of it's just melee stuff. Some of it's, you can just throw bricks and tennis balls and things like that at zombies and people, and they do damage, varying degrees of damage. Let's see what we have here. Tennis ball. Well, I'm not going to bother getting that infield right now. It's actually, I want to hold on to this axe. And it's something that I really just don't have the room for at the moment while I'm trying to fix this car. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of detail to this game. The developers of Arma 3 went to, quite a bit of effort to make this game as beautiful as they could with, as much detail as they possibly could. Now, these are some other parts here. This would actually be used to fix a helicopter. This is for making a storage crate that you can hide someplace. The waterproof tape is actually used for repairing some vehicles as well. One other thing I did want to show you is I was talking about earlier in the review. The map is pretty big, and while I was on break there, we did find a map. Now, currently, we are around here. Actually, I could probably narrow it down. I'm right here in this corner. So this is where we are currently.
Sound muted.
That was my team speak. Let's just keep that quiet for now. Now, that being said, if I'm here, this is the other end of the map. Let's just put it, just for show, out here on the middle of this island. I'm just putting a waypoint out there so we can kind of see what's out, how far it is. 24.4 kilometers. That's how far across that is. And that's just to the other side of the map. We still have clear up here in this corner. As you can see up to there, it's 19.2 kilometers. So this is a very, very large map. A lot of cities in this map, a lot of cities all over the map. You can actually see this is one of the biggest cities. Actually, this is the biggest city in the map itself, Kavala. Not really a lot out there to be worth running out there at this time. I believe that's actually something that they'll be fixing in the future. The real hot spots are here at this terminal, where pretty much the best loot in the game right now spawns. Supposedly up here where the ranger barracks are at, even better loot will spawn, but as of right now, it's pretty much a high-risk zone. You go out there, you're pretty much guaranteed to meet somebody else and probably get shot. But being a hero, you usually will only go up there with friends. Alright, let's keep moving. Now, throughout this, as I said earlier, there's also different buildings will spawn different things. And just over here, there's actually a broken down windmill that has a chance to spawn a fairly good rifle. So we're going to go check it out real quick and see if we get lucky. Hopefully the sounds are coming. Oh, look at that. Well, that's not really a bug for the mod so much as Arma itself. Just pushed me right through a wall. But hopefully, oh, a toolbox. How nice. Hopefully, you can hear the sounds around me. You can hear the wind going through trees. You can hear birds whistling. Obviously, you can hear the zombie growling. All of this really adds to the immersion. It makes this game feel just that much more realistic. Obviously, still being a game, it's not the most realistic thing in the world. And if you're wondering and you can hear those dogs, those are not in the game. That's my neighbors. Gotta love neighbors. And as I stated, this is purely unscripted. I'm just running through and playing it as I go. Playing it by ear entirely. I did not want to script this whatsoever. So, what happens, happens. Well, at this point, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't think we're going to have really enough time to get into fixing that car like I'd hoped we would, but at this point, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I hope it looks like an interesting game and something worth picking up. Arma 3 is actually on sale on Steam. Not currently on sale, but you can buy it through Steam. It currently goes for $59.99. And if you want to pick up Breaking Point, you can go to thezombieinfection.com, download the launcher from there, and install it. At this point, I do thank everybody for sticking around and watching this review. Please rate and subscribe if you wish. And this is Lee. Have a good day.